Hey guys, got 3 of you in here already. I'm gonna take a minute while maybe some people are filing in and try to adjust this camera a little bit. Bring it down a bit. And maybe that'll work. There we go. Gordy, welcome. Let me see if I don't feel the air on me right now. I got a little split vent unit out here in the West Parlor these days. And it typically does the job, but I think I had the fan down a little bit. All right, so got 16 people in the house now. Joe, Edson, welcome, welcome. Joe and Edson. Yes, a live show, Reese. So actually not the happiest of occasions, but I was kind of thinking about doing a live stream tomorrow night anyway, kind of breaking the streak. I haven't done a live stream in months at this point. And after you haven't done them for a while, you kind of get gun shy about flipping that camera on and going live. It's easy enough to make a video and put it in the can, because if you mess up something, you can always edit it out if you need to, but going live is a whole nother level. Live without a net, which we will get to. Live without a net pretty soon. You know what? I've got a laptop over here. I think I'm going to use it to look at you guys' comments, because it's just not very effective to do that on the phone while I'm recording. So let me move some of my janky TV dinner tables around. I'll get a little setup going. A little closer zoomed in than I normally like to make my videos. I think maybe the live streams work better for this, instead of me being way back out here. Oh, I am actually live. I'm seeing myself on a video. So this evening is not going to be the first of Tuesday night live streams. I think I'm going to typically do my live streams on Wednesday nights. But when I heard the news that Eddie Van Halen had passed away today, I felt like now's a good a time as any, since I'm sure I'll have plenty to talk about, and you guys may have plenty to share. Memories of Van Halen, specifically of Eddie Van Halen through the years. And so from what I read, he was 65 years old when he passed away today, and it was throat cancer that got him. Of course, I'm pretty sure he smoked cigarettes for many, many years, but he had also had struggles with cancer in the past, maybe in the early 2000s, and had beat that. I heard that was something on his tongue, and then he's been sick apparently for the past 2 or 3 years. But he did succumb today, or graduated, or whatever you want to call that. He's no longer with us here, but man, what a body of work that he left behind. I mean, so few people. There are so many great guitar players out there, but so few people struck at a time like he did and just changed the game. And I can't say that I'm like the most avid Van Halen fan of all time, although I do have all of their albums, at least 70s and 80s. But so many of the people that their music I love and cherish, you know, EVH paved the way for that, and you know, whether they appreciate it or not, and many of them do. I would say most hard rock and metal artists, you know, hail back and give respects to Eddie Van Halen and what he brought to the table with that speed picking and two-hand, you know, tapping and the onstage show. You know, it was an amazing thing to watch him play, and he always had that smile on his face, man. Just big old smile, like he wouldn't be as happy doing anything else from, you know, aside from what he was doing at the time. Anyway, so if you guys have some memories of a concert or an album or a song or anything like that, I would love to hear about that. Michael Cook says Eddie would tear up a guitar, making it look, I think he said effortless or easy. All right, I got my comments going on my laptop here. Making it look effortless. Yep, indeed. So, I have no idea how long this video is going to be, and of course we can talk about other things, not just Eddie Van Halen, but definitely was something on my mind, and I'll give a few more thoughts in a bit. But first, I'm loading up some Haddo's Delight from GLP's in my 7LE320. We'll get this lit up. How's the audio, you guys? Everything going all right? Hear me okay? Barton, he who finds a job doing what he loves will never work a day in his life. That is so true. It is so true. Even the worst day at a job that you love is better than most days in a job that you hate. Getting the occasional lag. Let's see what I'm doing up here. Well, I guess I better not mess with it right now. We'll hope for the best. I tell you what, give me one sec. No, okay. I'm back. So, I'm on my cellular, not my Wi-Fi. I thought maybe the Wi-Fi might be creating lag. But no, I'm on the cellular. Am I going to make an EVH tribute pipe? No. I don't think so. I don't know that Eddie ever smoked a pipe or any such. But I can pay tribute to him this evening by just talking about his music and things I liked about it. What other comments we got? Eric says, Van Halen was the whole soundtrack to my childhood and teenage years. This is a terrible and tragic loss. My prayers and love to his family and friends. True enough. My buddy Russell, one of my best friends, I'm pretty sure he would say Van Halen's his favorite band. And it was, you know, Van Halen and Kiss probably were the soundtrack to his early years. And is what it is. We can't stay here forever. None of us can. But 65 is just so young to go. I mean, we lost matches at around that age. I was just thinking yesterday, we lost Tom Petty 3 years ago this week on October 2nd. And that one hurt me a lot. Of course, you guys know I'm into the hard rock and metal, but you know, for whatever reason, Tom Petty in particular opened me up to a whole new genre of music, what I like to call roots rock or Americana. And he was the best. As far as, you know, rock guitar players, man, be hard pressed to come up with a better icon than Eddie Van Halen. So I'm gonna light up and we'll chat a bit more. Uh-oh. No filter. I could tell immediately. Had a little bit of junk on my tongue come through the shank. That's another benefit of using a filter. You don't ever have to worry about that. Who else is going? Joe Reg? Let's see. Mr. Olam says, do you yourself play any guitar or other musical instrument? I do play, well, I have been known to play guitar in the past. I played bass primarily on a church worship team for about 15 years. I also played in a band with my buddies Jason and Tom in the 90s, late 90s maybe. Never really got off the ground here in Pensacola, but yeah, you know, I play around at guitar as well as bass. My daughter's learning bass right now. One of my middle child wants to learn guitar, so I'm going to try to teach her a few things here in the near future. There's not much for me to teach. I'm very much a strummer. Never been a great lead player, or a lead player to speak of at all. I'm pretty much a rhythm guitar player when I play guitar. And I just, you know, when I play for myself, I just love either playing acoustic or playing a Telecaster through a little Princeton amp. But typically when I listen to music, I want to hear the stuff that I can't play. And that would be where EVH was. Eddie Van Halen and all the bands that came after Van Halen. That kind of grew that sound, you know. Bands like Rat and Survivor and, you know, all the hair bands, Bon Jovi, you know, Britney Fox, a new band I just found out recently called Taiketo. I've been over the moon about Taiketo recently. It's a band that I had never heard about before, and their first album came out in '91. They were kind of late to that genre's party, but still some amazing stuff. Kicks, I love Kicks. I have every Kicks album. Dangerous Toys. My daughter's making a Halloween playlist, and she was asking me for what to put on it. And I said, you need to put Scared by Dangerous Toys. Got 27 in the house. That is not bad, and much more manageable than what I used to get when I did kind of regular live streams. Yardism, welcome, sir. And in case you don't recall, Chad, you're actually one of my moderators. So feel free to take part in that if you have time. Sorry about that. I have coming in, so we're back hopefully. Now I'm on Disturb. I knew I forgot something. But Caitlin, yes, The Goonies is one of my all-time favorite movies, and I've shared it with my children. They don't like it as much as me, but Joe, I still have the Iron Maiden poster. I actually have two Iron Maiden posters. I've got one for A Matter of Life and Death. You can still see it over there. That's what this is. Iron Maiden's A Matter of Life and Death album art. The Troopers back there somewhere. I like to cycle through them. I got Bowie over here from the Labyrinth movie, Jim Henson's Labyrinth. I'm all over the place here in my thoughts. Sure not getting this pipe lit up very well. Give us the truffle shuffle. Come on. Yeah, but even the guitar players from, you guys are talking about Iron Maiden in the chat. Even the guitar players in Iron Maiden owe a debt to Eddie Van Halen. I mean, their guitar playing is far beyond what it was when they got started. Um, and people just sat at the feet of Eddie Van Halen for many years. I mean, he was one of the greats. And of course, I do believe other people have surpassed his prowess in the years that followed, but I mean, he was the originator of so much. One of my favorite guitar players as far as soloist is Vito Bratta from White Lion. And Vito was, you know, an acolyte of Eddie Van Halen. I mean, he studied Eddie Van Halen and solo construction, and you can hear that in Vito's playing on the White Lion albums. Some of those solos are just textbook Eddie Van. It's like the greatest solos EVH never wrote. But yeah, just some fantastic guitar players that were inspired by him. I will get this lit eventually. I've had this Haddo's Delight out here and open for a few months now, I think, and haven't been smoking it. It's been behind the posters, kind of out of sight, out of mind. So I think maybe it's so moist in Florida. Sometimes when I keep blends open for extended periods, it's like they absorb too much moisture. You just can't keep them lit after that. Yardism, you are the musical genius, or at least the musical encyclopedia in the group, most likely. Tell us who Gary Moore was. Gary Moore was a giant, you wrote. I've heard some Gary Moore solo stuff, but I don't know where he's from. I'm going to try to get on my Wi-Fi, you guys. Bear with me. Let's try it over Wi-Fi. I mean, why not? Typically when I do live streams, I do Wi-Fi, but we'll see if that cleans it up a little bit. Thin Lizzy, okay. I like the way you put that. He went through Thin Lizzy. Kind of like David Coverdale went through, what was that, Deep Purple. Yardism, you were reading an article about Vito? You should send me the link to that. Not in the chat. I mean, you can put it in the chat, but send me a text or an email. Yeah, Joe and Joe Satriani and Steve Vai, they owe a debt to EVH. So I mean, it's a great musical loss to lose Eddie Van Halen. So young, my kids would not say 65 is young, but at 45, I'm 45. 65 is too young. Thank you, Gordy. Thank you for sticking up for me. I might should try a different blend if this one's going to give me this kind of trouble. Even the Wild Stallions owe a debt to EVH. There was a part in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure where one of them was like, we need to get Eddie Van Halen. And I think the other one was like, without a triumphant video, we'll never get Eddie Van Halen. Reese, station. Reese, I kept number 75 for myself of the tribute pipes. And may not show up right there. Trust me, it's number 75 out of 860. That was because I had a lot of people ask about 75 and I didn't know how to choose, but I already wanted to keep 75 for myself because when I started my YouTube channel, I was Haunted Tank 75. That was my channel name before I started the Pipe Nook. And I just liked, I liked having the two numbers together, 75 and 860 on that pipe. So that was the reasoning. I was able to see Eddie Van Halen, or to see Van Halen, the reformed Van Halen, maybe 10 years ago or so, whenever they did that reunion tour with David Lee Roth. And me and my buddy Russell went to New Orleans to catch that, whatever the big arena is over there. Pretty sure we went to New Orleans. And we had nosebleed seats because they were almost sold out when we found out about the show. But still, it was a fantastic night. Eddie always played, well, he didn't always play, but he had gone back to playing with cables, like long cables. You know, a lot of guitar players use wireless apparatuses these days. But he was going left and right across this big stage in this arena with this guitar cable, like cloth woven guitar cable. It must have been a 50-foot cable, maybe even more. It was a huge cable, and he would kind of sling it around behind him. I always liked playing with a cable myself. But when I did, it didn't sound anything like EVH, I'll tell you that. But that was the one time I got to see him. And I was glad to do it. I also only got to see Tom Petty one time. So, Jason Stallworth. That's my buddy I was telling y'all about. I played in a band with. Check his channel out if you're into metal guitar. He's got some awesome stuff. And maybe we'll wind up recording together again someday. If he can find some paint-by-numbers bass lines for me to do. Yeah, Jason and I are tossing around the idea of starting a podcast together. So you guys be on the lookout for some news about that in the weeks to come. We've talked about it for months. Now it's time for us to get down to brass tacks and do it. Not going to be a pipe smoking podcast, but I'm sure we'll do an episode at some point related to pipe smoking. My video feed looks so grainy, you guys. My apologies. Oh, I've got it set on 144. Well, let me try to bring it up. Why the heck was that? Okay, now I'm at 720p. Much better. I clean up pretty good then. I loved Tom Petty and the Postman. We was talking to old what's his name? Gosh, who was the star of the Postman? Somebody help me out here. Costner, Kevin Costner. Tom Petty's character was talking to Kevin Costner, and he's like, you know, before all this, I was a big-time music star. Yeah, the only time I ever saw Tom Petty live was in Nashville at, I think, the Bridgestone Arena is in Nashville. And that was maybe 10 years ago. Never got to see either of them in their prime, so to speak, but there's something to be said for guys who can still get out there in their 50s or 60s and just still put on a great show and be happy to do it. Because those guys weren't doing it to pay the bills. They were doing it because they still loved doing it. They weren't hurting for money. Not at that point. Can you guys hear my squeaky chair? Inherited the squeaky chair. So, I can't recall what my first experience with, the first time I heard Van Halen was. But I can tell you the first album I bought that was a Van Halen album was 5150. Van Hagar. That was 86, and it was one of the first albums I bought for myself. I was 11 years old in 86. And Poison was kind of my gateway drug when Look What the Cat Dragged In came out. I was in 6th grade, 7th grade, something like that. And I just thought it was fantastic. And I just went from Poison to Van Halen and Iron Maiden, Cinderella, Bon Jovi, all those bands that put out albums in 86. I was all over the hard rock and heavy metal. But it didn't take me long to dig back into Van Halen's catalog and find out, hey, there was this whole other band before Sammy Hagar played with them. Yardism, that's a great story about Dimebag. So, when I dug back into Van Halen's catalog, I'm pretty much a completionist when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I guess I've always been that way, but when I find an artist I like, I check out everything I possibly can from them. So I wound up with all of the Van Halen albums pre-Van Hagar, and had 5150, had OU812. I don't think I bought a Van Halen album since then, but I've heard them. And I have quite a few favorite songs, but probably my favorite Van Halen album is Fair Warning. It's either Fair Warning or Women and Children First. I thought that was really their sweet spot as a band. I actually just ordered this little box set some time back. Got it in last week. Been listening to it. These are the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 albums by Van Halen. Yep. And these are done up like little miniature vinyl albums. So there's the cover to Van Halen from 1978. 78? Am I telling you right? Yep. The back with David Lee Roth. But just even that photo right there of Eddie on the very first Van Halen album, I mean, what guitar player wouldn't want to look that awesome on their album cover? Then, of course, there's Van Halen 2. Came out in 79, I believe. Yep, 79. Here's the back of that. And Fabulous Diamond Dave doing his thing, and everybody else in the band, including EVH in those crazy red pants. But yeah, this is one of my favorite Van Halen albums. Women and Children First. Phenomenal album. This box set, you guys, if you guys were asking about it, was like $20 or something crazy like that. It doesn't have all the inserts, right? It just has the music and these little fake vinyl kind of card sleeves for the CDs. But, you know, for $20, 6 albums, can't leave it there for that price. This is probably my favorite Van Halen album. Van Halen's Fair Warning. And I almost always call it Van Halen's Mean Street. I pretty much always screw up the album name when I'm talking about it. But what a great album. Mean Street is on this, and man, it's fantastic. Unchained. Hear About It Later. Push Comes to Shove. So This Is Love. Great album. I'm starting to sound like Chad now. See how many times I can say great and fantastic in the same video. But so Women and Children First, my second favorite album, came out in 80. This one came out in 81. Mean Street. Fair Warning. And then Diver Down came out in 82. Not my favorite Van Halen album, but there's definitely some cool stuff on here. And then there aren't that many people out there that don't have at least a passing appreciation for Van Halen's 1984. They really took off. You know, Eddie pioneered that crazy synth keyboard sound into the Van Halen hard rock formula, and it worked. It worked super well. Jump, Panama, Hot for Teacher, I'll Wait, Girl Gone Bad, House of Pain. Very good album. Very good album here. But those are the 6 albums that came in this set. And of course, I wish I could play you guys some samples. But that's not going to happen with copyright and, you know, and all that. So, but if you don't have, you know, if you have like one Van Halen album, which that's what I had on CD. I had Fair Warning and I had Women and Children First. And then I saw this and it had all those 6 albums for $20. I thought, yeah, I just need them all now. I used to have them all on cassette, but never made the switch when I went to CDs. Justin, your grandfather wore out 2 cassettes of OU812? You must be a pup. Or your grandfather was very young at heart. Let me catch up on some reading here from the comments. Got 33 in the house, y'all. Smoking the Ghost says Van Halen 2 was huge in my 240Z. I can imagine. Joe, we are seemingly losing a lot of the greats these past few years. And then we have guys like Bob Dylan and Willie Nelson that are just still hanging in there in their 80s. Wisconsin Woodsman, I can imagine in 78, no offense, but I was 3 years old. But I can imagine hearing that first Van Halen album. I mean, there were some good guitar albums before Van Halen, but I mean, that was just a whole nother level. From, you know, Boston and Foreigner and Kansas and that kind of stuff to go to freaking EVH, man. It's kind of tough for somebody like me who wasn't there at ground zero for something like that to really feel the full impact of how jarring and landscape altering something like Eddie Van Halen was when Van Halen hit the scene. But I can imagine. I can imagine. Yeah, I remember EVH doing the solo for, which one was it? Billie Jean? Beat It. Pretty sure that was it. What are the songs on Women and Children First? Scotty, I will tell you. You probably already looked it up by now. I'll tell you my favorites on all these albums. Where is... Here we go. Women and Children First. And the Cradle Will Rock. Everybody Wants Some. Which was used in Better Off Dead, the film Better Off Dead, starring John Cusack in the early 80s. There's this weird kind of animated hamburger. It was like a claymation hamburger playing guitar and singing Everybody Wants Some. Fools, Romeo Delight, Tora Tora, Lost Control, Lost Control, Lost Control, Lost Control, Take Your Whiskey Home, Could This Be Magic, and In a Simple Rhyme. I really like And the Cradle Will Rock. I really like Everybody Wants Some. Take Your Whiskey Home, and Could This Be Magic. All four of those would be my favorites on that album. Some of these are too tiny to read, you guys. I don't see the track listing on Van Halen 2, but I know I like Beautiful Girls on this one. Oh, here we go. You're No Good. They did a cover of You're No Good. Dance the Night Away. Somebody Get Me a Doctor. Bottoms Up. Out of Love Again. Light Up the Sky. Spanish Fly. DOA. Women in Love, and Beautiful Girls. Not my favorite album by them. But like I said, I do love Beautiful Girls. Joe Ragu, you're talking about Keith Richards. Oh yeah, Keith Richards. Yeah, he does seem to have 9,000 lives. There's a good documentary about him out there, if you care to look it up. In recent years, maybe 5 years old now. Yeah, Ice Cream Man is an example of one of Dave's kind of show tune songs. Seems to be one on every album, or pretty much every album. At least one. But I always liked them. I thought they were fun. So on Fair Warning, my favorites are Mean Street, Unchained, maybe Hear About It Later. It's hard to pick favorites when you like every song on the album. 1984. Oh, excuse me for the throat gurgle, you guys. I like the version they did of Pretty Woman on 1984. And there's some cool stuff here and there, but for whatever reason, I just don't connect with this one as much as the others. It doesn't feel like a cohesive album to me. There's a lot of covers. Well, I don't want to say a lot of covers, but there's Pretty Woman, Dancing in the Street, and Happy Trails. 1984, my favorite's probably I'll Wait, which I don't think was a single, but that's a fantastic song. But I really like most of the songs on this album too, 1984. Jump and Panama, of course, are fantastic. Then on the original Van Halen, I would say my favorite is probably, that's hard to say too, maybe Atomic Punk, maybe Ain't Talking About Love. And I also like Jamie's Crying. Well, and Little Dreamer. So yeah, there's a lot of good songs on this one too. But anyway, you know, like I said, I'm not a super fan of Van Halen. I don't know the full biography of Eddie Van Halen or anything like that, but definitely a monumental thing to have lost him today, and just kind of wanted to come on and reminisce with you guys. Yardism says all-time favorite Van Halen song. Ain't Talking About Love is a good one, Chad. Hot for Teacher, yeah. Barton says Hot for Teacher, the video though, if I'm being honest. Yeah. As a hormone-ridden preteen, when I discovered Van Halen, that was an amazing video. In later years, there was another video by Billy Idol, and I was never a big Billy Idol fan at all, but he had a song called Rock the Cradle. That was an amazing video, and we'll just leave that at that. Joe, glad I could help. Good way to kill, you know, a little bit of time while we're smoking our pipes. I hope some of you are out there sharing a bowl with me. I think I finally got this pipe in the chuff. Pipe Smoker 795, welcome. A bit late to the party, but glad to see you nevertheless. And I really did like Van Hagar, you know, the Sammy Hagar fronted version of Van Halen. I thought 5150 was just as good. Don't hit me, but just as good as 1984. Yeah, Dreams from 5150 is a great song. Too bad I don't have those in front of me, but that's another good album. Well, in the wake of Hurricane Sally, we've got another hurricane brewing in the Gulf again. Gas is already selling out everywhere. My wife just sent me a text message that we need to try to go get gas. So I'll probably be cutting this off in the next few minutes here. Try and hunt down some gasoline. Reese, are you asking me what time tomorrow for a another live stream? Or were you asking somebody else about that, or somebody else that? No guarantees on the live stream for tomorrow since I just did one today. But if I were to do a live stream tomorrow night, which would be my standard slot if I start doing these live streams regularly, I'd say it'll probably be about 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time. Probably. But around that time, might be an hour earlier than that. We'll just have to see how the day goes. All right, sounds like a lot of us are in the same boat. We all got to get to doing something, whether it's dinner or chores or what have you. So, let's cut this off. Wish I had better news to share with you guys. Maybe I have some better news the next time I do a live stream. As a matter of fact, I think I will have some better news. So, stay tuned for the next Lights live stream, possibly to happen tomorrow evening. All right, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. We'll chat with you again soon. Good night.